G'day guys, this is Pangod. I am here doing, as you can see, a BattleTech LP. Now I've put in a lot of hours. I'm at probably about 200 hours so far playing this game since it came out. If you've seen my other video, you would have noticed that yes, I did put out one as soon as the game came out. I was that excited, and it's really met my expectations for the most part. There's a couple little niggles, but really it covers everything that you want. It is a tactical war game where you command a group of mechs. It's the kind of thing that we've been waiting for since Mech Commander came out, which is one of my favorite games of all time. I love Mech Commander. And this one, it's not real time, it's now turn-based, and it doesn't have some of the advanced tech because it's back in 3025. But no, it covers it off really well. So in this LP, we're going to be covering the campaign. And real quick before we start, I'll show you the new game options. If you're familiar with the new XCOMs, you know about this kind of stuff, like just bits to tweak the campaign. So you got things like how much salvage you need, how mechs come when they are salvaged, how much money you get, the availability of rare parts and elite Mechwarriors, stuff to tweak your game. But for the time being, we're just going to go with normal vanilla settings. And the other thing I'll mention about this LP is that, okay, first of all, this will be just the story campaign. You do have to do random missions. I'm going to probably summarize them in the video, so there's not like, you know, several hundred videos. You can waste a lot of time doing these random missions. In addition to that, I'll also not be showing the videos in like these main sections. I'll actually put them on separately. There'll be links below and in the SA thread, so you can go to those if you want to see them. So there'll be one intro video coming up right now. I'll put the link in, and I'll see you guys in character creation in one sec. Alright, so this game has some light RPG elements, in that obviously you've got skill points and that kind of thing, but also there are events that will take place where you can actually roleplay. Don't worry about that voice, I'll get to it in a sec. You can roleplay what kind of happens, like do you want to play an arsehole, do you want to be in it for the money, for the honor, are you trying to be a friend to everyone? So that'll crop up as we go along. I'll summarize it as they happen. But you also get to choose your actual background for the character. Now it's a nice simplified system, like what your origin is. Do you come from one of the great houses? Do you come from, you can even go deep periphery if you want to try and roleplay as a clanner. Because I know everyone who's into BattleTech is always absolutely pissy if they don't get to play as one of the clans. Now I've done that for a couple of playthroughs, but this time the character I have in mind, he's actually going to come from the Aurigan Commonwealth. He's going to be a minor noble associated with House Steiner. When he was young, he was trained up in the family ancestral blackjack, and I love that ancestral mechs are a thing in this universe. It's so silly. And you got to meet up with Raju Montgomery, who trained you up. And then something happened. Now you get a couple of choices here. These do affect what happens with those events, like you get some dialogue options. But for the most part, what you're looking at really is the player skills you get. So you'll end up with a couple of bonuses to you. So I think you start off with like just 2s in every field, and then these bump you up a little bit. So in this case, we're going to go struck out on our own because I'd prefer for my family to not all be dead, which is what seems to happen in all of those. So we go piloting and tactics. Then we get to choose our kind of like our career as a young Mechwarrior with an ancestral battle mech. So there's, you know, as a soldier, as a mercenary, merchant guard. And again, these give you little bonuses, and they will affect some dialogue options later on. Again, it's very light stuff. They won't really affect your campaign too much, but it's nice flavor. Now this guy's going to be a Solaris Gladiator, so he gets +1 to gunnery. And then later on you run into Mastiff again, and he gives you a job offer to join up with House Arano, who we'll get to know in the story pretty soon. Now the character I do have in mind, which you will see in a second. So I put on some mods, including a custom main character creation, and you can probably see the one which stands out really obviously. So I'm going to tie this into that Mechwarrior 4 LP I did many years ago. We are going to bring Duncan Fisher and expand on his backstory, and unfortunately I couldn't find what his actual nickname was, if he had one, in the canon of BattleTech. But I think that fits in pretty well. So yeah, this is a mod that I've got on. I've got a couple of mods that are mainly just minor cosmetic stuff, because we want to experience the base game. And just like that, we now have Duncan Fisher, who has, as you can see, his background there. And now we begin with the actual campaign. So the first cutscene, which actually comes immediately before this, between character creation and this, the Coronation Day logo, that is just a quick summary about what's been going on. To summarize it here, if you haven't seen it, Lady Arano, Kamea Arano, is the heir to the Aurigan Coalition, which is a group of minor houses which are all sharing the power. Now, her parents were killed in an accident, and since she's next to go on the throne, she is the one who will now be leading the charge. But she's got a couple of people who aren't all that happy with it, so we're being given guard duty to make sure that everything goes smoothly.
Command interface initiated.
And to kick things off with, we have a quick tutorial mission where Raju is going to put us through our paces. And this is the standard camera controls. If the camera's a little janky, I apologize. I put on a camera mod, which is I'm still getting used to. Now, the dialogue boxes...
I'll come right out and say it, kid. I wasn't completely honest with you the other day. There's gonna be more to this job than escort duty.
Now, that dialogue box that you saw before, I've edited it to make it a little bit more legible for YouTube, I hope. That's how most of the exposition is given in this game in mission. You'll either have dialogue or you have voice, and most of it is dialogue. And as you can see, I'm messing around with the camera mod. It's a really good one. It lets you get right in there. So the mods I've got, I'll put up a list probably in the description, definitely in the thread. Again, they're all just nice little cosmetic ones.
Like I was saying, I can't prove anything. But my gut tells me something's off. And a warrior trusts their instincts.
So, for the most part, when these kind of things happen, I'll let the game speak for itself. But what I will say is that this is how the bulk of the combat happens. The tutorial does a pretty good job of showing you how to engage the enemy, although it doesn't tell you about, like, deselecting weapons as I did there.
Bang! You're dead.
Kamea's like a daughter to me. And her late father, High Lord Tamati, was a good friend.
Now, the full explanation about how the game plays, you're probably not going to get it for a couple of videos. Again, there's a lot of exposition, there's a lot of stuff that the game is very simple on the surface level. Like, this tutorial will give you the bare bones necessities, if I can say those words.
Firing everything I've got.
For how to, engage the enemy, how to move around your units, all that kind of stuff.
Victoria pulls no punches, but she's been a loyal companion to Kamea since they were kids. Aside from you, there's no one I'd rather have by my side in a fight.
But in trying to get all the little nuances for this game, it takes a lot of on-the-job learning. As I was cut off there by Raju. And I'm just going to save a little bit of heat. Don't worry, the tutorial will cover that in a second.
You betcha.
What I'm doing you generally don't have to worry about, but, I train the way that I fight, so...
Knocked out a vehicle.
So to cover what may not have been too obvious, is they
What can I do
so
for
yeah,
you?
so vehicles and mechs will have thinner armor on the rear, which is what that whole engagement was about, as well as the fact that it didn't get the cover bonus. And now we get to use jump jets, which are the best part of any BattleTech game.
Time to fly.
Fuck yeah!
Bandits.
Fuck no.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. Jump jets build a lot of heat, and that was more than your engine could handle. Head on into that water. We need to get you cooled off.
Okay, that's not a good sign. And you can see I took some internal damage from that amount of heat. Again, heat's something that you really need to
Waiting on
be
you,
careful of
Commander.
in this game. I'm sure I'll expand on it later when we start to get... Actually, the next mission, definitely. So yes, that's a good amount of tonnage.
I hear ya.
That's not going to be used anymore. Which means unfortunately we can't DFA this guy, but what we can do is ram the fuck out of him. Because yes, BattleTech was HBS was very specific. If we're going to do this right, we're going to have melee combat. This is the kind of thing that everyone's been wanting for
Moving out.
decades. And it's so good!
Push that engine, kid. If something goes wrong today, I want to know that your mech can maneuver.
So the other bits of the story that we're getting here is that, yeah, everyone's rushing around trying to get ready for the Coronation. The Espinosa faction, which aren't the biggest fans of Kamea and what she wants to do, but they do own all the refit yards, so... Everyone's getting ready for this thing.
An impressive display, Sir Raju. Of course, this Mechwarrior was a student of yours. I'd expect them to know their way around a cockpit.
And there's the lady herself. We get to know her quite a bit in the next mission. So the whole evasion thing is the other thing. If you're familiar with XCOM, you know about keeping cover.
Waiting on you, Commander.
BattleTech's a bit different because you're in a walking tank. So instead, it's just about keeping up speed so you evade incoming fire. It's very important while we're still stuck with a lot of mechs.
Mission
And there we go, that's the
successful.
tutorial done. So next video, we will head off to the Coronation with Kamea, and yeah, we'll just get a little bit more story. And if you want to see the next video, again, there'll be there should be 4 video links for the cutscenes. One for the intro, one for the initial bit where Kamea is giving you the backstory, another one to give you a summary of what's going on with the Coronation, And then the fourth one that comes here is just a quick cutscene before the coronation itself. So until then, I'll see you guys around.